Welcome to Season 2, Episode 24 of the Cohesive Home Podcast.
On today's podcast, we wanted to do something a little bit different. Our husbands, Brandon and Kirk, will be joining us as we discuss dreaming together as a couple. We hope you enjoy this episode as we all share our perspectives on what it looks like to intentionally foster one another's dreams while working as a team.
So I guess what we're going to do is we're going to jump into our stories. Since we have our husbands here, I think it would be appropriate to kind of talk about what we have dreamt together. Is that the proper use of the word dreamt? Together in the past, as well as some dreams we're looking to for the future. So my husband Brandon here.
Hello.
We have, we've had a pretty interesting story, I would say, as far as our dreams and our goals. They've shifted a lot. First, they were very much the suburban dream of wanting a big expensive house, which is fine. I'm not belittling that at all. But that was what we thought we wanted. And we almost bought a big house, and that would have been
terrible.
Really bad financially. Would have been a bad decision. But we thought we wanted that dream, and turns out that instead we wanted a dream of travel, and specifically to, international travel. And we were able to pursue that. Ironically, though, I didn't think that was my dream. I didn't know that was my dream. And I think that that's one really important thing to point out is that if you're in constant battle with your spouse's dreams and you don't understand them, maybe trying to understand them, you might realize that those are your dreams, and that's why you chose each other, was because deep down you work really well together. So I had always wanted to travel, but because of Brandon's work, he was able to acquire a job in Germany, and that was just completely opened my eyes. For lack of a better way to say it, I was just enamored with travel and international travel. How would you say, what do you think that was always your dream, to move internationally?
From an early age, yes, because I had the opportunity to travel, and that was, that moving to Germany was a dream fulfilled for me. I know it was just cool to see my kids living in Europe, and almost like an out-of-body experience, getting to watch us do that. As difficult as it wasn't at times, it really was good for us. But I think teaching was never a dream. I never thought I was going to be a teacher. And going back to school, to graduate school, was never a dream either. And it was just as I lived life and had new experiences, those dreams changed and evolved, and they and are constantly doing that. And I feel like the older that I get, the more me I become. I understand myself and my personality, and that only came through time. And I still don't know what the future holds for us. We have dreams, which I think is really important. I would be severely depressed if I didn't have dreams.
I know. Yeah, because it's kind of, we're living that suburban life again in a way that we didn't necessarily think we would do again. And we're here, and, our kids are happy, and that's what matters. But on a daily basis, we say, oh, we'd love to be in France, or, we would love to have some land or have a vineyard or do something with our hands. And just talking to him about it, and him talking to me about it, makes me feel so much better, knowing that we're on that same page and that we're going towards something. There's something in the future that we have that's ours. and it's not an individualistic thing. It's just, it's a collaborative dream.
Yeah. And family really, changed that for me. And that there was, a transition period of coping, coming, with having a family, because it wasn't just about me. It wasn't just about Melissa and I. It's about Melissa and myself and our kids. And so I thought when I went back to grad school, I was going to end up with a PhD and be a bearded professor writing boring historical articles. And that was my dream. And it was my dream. And when I decided not to pursue that in the best interest of my family, it wasn't that I was giving it up. My whole, my dreams shifted. And maybe that PhD's in the future for me. I'm not totally shelving that, but for now, that's not.
It's not a current dream.
It's not current, nor do I feel less fulfilled as a person because I didn't get to achieve that, or am I bitter because of my because I had a family, rather large family, pretty quickly, that I don't hold that against them as something. It was just because Melissa and I have always communicated well. Those dreams changed, and I think that is something that I see in Melissa being very courageous, being able to try something. And if it doesn't work out, she gets tired of it or bored of it. She's not afraid to put it down and go to something else. And it's not that she's giving up or quitting. It's just we're changing constantly.
Yeah.
Just don't stop Cohesive Home. Just don't.
No.
Oh no.
Just don't get bored with that.
No, she can't do that.
I am really, really proud. I mean, I gotta say, I'm a creative drifter. We'll just be honest. I do. I like
She's
many
a
things.
serial entrepreneur.
There we go. And Cohesive Home has been something that I've felt very, very. It's a dream fulfilled. It really is. Like knowing that we created something and it is sustainable, and it's something that with a team effort, it's continuing. So
yeah. And Kirk and I have Cohesive Home tattoos, so they really can't quit this.
We do.
Oh my gosh!
I can't show where mine is, but Brandon's was in a better spot. Mine was.
Oh my gosh!
Somewhere public spot.
Oh my gosh. Okay, everyone listening, that is not true. They do not have, but if they did, that would be disturbing and hilarious. Okay,
Yes, absolutely.
So that's a little bit about us. Kate and Kirk, you have, I just think, a really, really cool story. So you want to share a little bit about that?
Well, I think I've actually shared a lot of our story over past episodes, but really our story has changed a lot in the last few weeks. And so, that is something, right, where it is our dreams continuing to evolve and unfold. And so recently, Kirk quit his full-time job.
Woo.
Yes, I did.
It's a big deal.
It is a huge deal, and that has been a long-time dream for us to better balance our work, our family, and our creative pursuits. And so Kirk has been working on his music.
Yeah, I have, and it's been nice to have some more time. I think my circumstances have made it to where I can still provide for my family by working part-time, so that's beneficial. But it's that transition from one life or one way of life into that dream life, or that
we're melding together what we're passionate about while also still raising our family. And that's a really hard balance.
Yes. Yeah. I think it's really cool because I know that, Kate, you had mentioned wanting to do that a long time ago. This has been a dream of yours. I mean, really, truly, maybe not in this way, but you've mentioned him quitting the full time and doing, this home health and all these things in the past. And I just love seeing the fact that it's coming to fruition. Like it's a dream. It is coming real.
Well,
and yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's, important to mention if you're listening that, sometimes it feels like if I'm on social media and I see other families accomplishing things quickly, right? And they're pursuing dreams and it's like, wow, that happened fast. And for us, this has been, almost 3 years in the making.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. We are, the little engine that could. We are just slowly chugging along.
Yeah, I think online, people just show as it's happening. Like they don't show all the work prior because nobody wants to read a blog post about, we chatted about this, we chatted about that. So really, people only talk about things as it's occurring,
or it has already happened.
It already has happened,
right.
And the stubbornness and the willing to
persevere.
Yeah, persevere and just put your head down and focus on the next step, even if it's multiple years away. That's it's I don't know. We're happy that things are moving the way they are, but we couldn't have done it without each other, though. I mean, we're not like just each doing our own thing. We've spent a lot of time talking about what my interests are and what Kate's interests are, and how we're going to make those work together as a family.
Mm-hmm. Because that's the truth, is that we have 2 young kids. We have another on the way, and if Kirk said, "This is my dream and I'm going to pursue it no matter what," and your dreams need to take a back seat, that would be so detrimental to our marriage.
Yeah.
And likewise, if I said the same thing to him, it would be damaging. Mm-hmm. And so we know that we may be moving forward very slowly, but we're doing it together, and that's what matters most.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and I think you said it well. There are seasons of life where your dreams, your individual dreams, may take a back seat to his, and vice versa. And then, because, okay, for example, for us, there was a time when Brandon was pursuing his master's and I worked full time. And I did not like my job. I wasn't pursuing anything that I loved, but it got food on the table, and he worked on this dream of his to get his master's. And then as soon as that happened, I got pregnant, and then it flipped. I mean, I had a dream of having kids. That was a dream since I was a child. Like, I always wanted to be a mom, and he helped me pursue that by being the provider.
Yeah. And our dream together was to have a family and for her to stay at home with the kids. And that was something that we spoke about, I think, on our very first date, which is a blind date. So who talks about that on their first date?
That's awesome.
Yeah, weirdos like us. We even talked about the favorite names that we had for our future children. Not our future children, like as in together, but like names that we loved. No, guys, it was crazy. Blind date,
a whole
like
episode.
Yeah.
Talk about intimacy on the first date.
That's right.
That's like level 7 intimacy.
We just dove right in.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, but it's the as a husband, as a man, family man, my goal, or part of my goal, is to provide for my family. That's my number one objective whenever I wake up, is, am I providing for my family? And the work that I do is not necessarily exciting all the time, but it provides for my family.
Yeah.
And that's in this time right now, that's what is super rewarding.
Yeah, there's not another dream that we're really pursuing at the moment, and that's what keeps him going, is like knowing that he's doing the right thing. But Kirk touched on it too. He's able to pursue a dream as well as still do the one thing he's supposed to be doing, and that's provide for his family. Yeah. And I think that that's very, very important too to talk about. So,
but it's it's hard to juggle all of those pieces, you know, and you have to decide as a couple what dreams are worth pursuing because they can make things more complicated. They can take up more of your time. It's a lot easier to just work and go through, your day without adding anything extra to your time. But if it's...
Well, yeah, and I think that also kind of brings us to one thing I wanted to talk about was like individual goals and dreams, and how we have, and I want to say this the right way, but I think one thing that can be very detrimental to couples is when you have a dream that's an individual dream that doesn't take into account your spouse, and you're creating this world of this dream by yourself, and it's a selfish goal, and it excludes everything else, and then you try and pursue this by yourself, and you create this almost vacuum of just excluding teamwork and excluding your other half, and so I don't know how to segue to anything else, but I think it's important to talk about.
I think it's a little bit of a yo-yo there. You have to focus on yourself a little bit. You get lost in that sometimes. But I mean, for me, I have a good spouse that reminds me of priorities at times, because it's easy whenever you're so focused on your individual goal, like you cannot lose sight of the group or of the unit. Because despite what some self-help books and stuff may say, like, you can't just focus on that one dream, and if you do that, then your life is fulfilled. Because my life without my family, or my dreams, whatever those are, without my family, those actually aren't my dreams anymore, And so I think, it's a tough thing to try to manage both sides of it, but you have to lean towards the unit and supporting the other, supporting the family, but also trying to have a group goal, that you guys have together.
Well, and I think too that there is such beauty in having this cohesive dream together and supporting each other. I'm sorry, he's giving me a thumbs down for using that word, but when you have a young family, and in spite of that, you're working together and you're pursuing both your individual dreams and your dreams as a couple, I feel like it makes it that much sweeter, because how hard you're working toward those things.
Yeah, and all those different layers, it really does create a richer life and relationship. I mean, I started this knitting business, and Brandon is nothing but supportive with it, and he's not over there knitting. He's not doing anything online.
Maybe
for
he
me,
should be.
I know. I might recruit him.
I should.
Knit that hat. quicker. No, he, and that's something that I'm so appreciative of. And same with, Kirk supporting you with your writing. And
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I am so grateful to Kirk because he gives me lots of time to work on my own projects, whether that's Cohesive Home or working on my book. And I couldn't do this without him, or even just having that extra support to take breaks when I need it. As a work-at-home mom, I need that extra support, and I couldn't do it without him.
I totally agree. I mean, because even with doing Cohesive Home, it has not been a full-time job by any means, but it's definitely been a job. It's a labor of love, if you will. It's something that, now we're just doing the podcast mostly, and it's something that both you and I enjoy, but they've been nothing but supportive with the time that we've needed to take away even from the family sometimes to do this.
Yeah, I mean, it's something we enjoy. I mean, I'm speaking for Brandon, maybe, I don't know.
No, yeah, of course.
But it's something I know it's good quality, and it's, I don't know, you guys are doing such a good job, and so there's nothing but support from me. I mean, I know my wife is very intelligent and very puts her time in worthwhile things, and that's just from knowing her, for so long. I know and trust her instincts,
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So I actually have a question for both of you. So what advice would you give to someone whose spouse is starting a business or doing some kind of time-intensive project, like such as when we were starting Cohesive Home? What words of wisdom would you give them? Brandon, do you want to go first?
Well, I don't know. I think like Kirk, I'm a super fan, and at the beginning of Cohesive Home, I mean, what Kate and Melissa, the work that they put out, they do such good work that I'm still really excited about Cohesive Home and the opportunities that it's going to bring. So I think at first I could overpush or try to be too supportive of it. Not that that's a thing, but I think that
Maybe your expectations were a little more than what we I was
well
able to even help
about expectations, but I think understanding what your spouse is wanting to do, communication is really big. What are you wanting to do? How much time is it going to take? How can I help? Because you are a team. You are living a life together. So if your time has to be me taking some of my time is no problem for me, because I know that this work with Cohesive Home means a lot to Melissa, means a lot to Kate, and if I can support that and someone enrich their lives by taking care of the kids for a couple hours, or washing dishes, or making sure everything's quiet while they're recording, and there's really no grudges, but it does start with communicating. What's your goal? What are you trying to do? And Melissa has always, I mean, like we said, when we got married, that was something that we discussed. That was what we wanted. We wanted a family, and we wanted a stay-at-home parent, and that was our goal together. So how are we going to accomplish that? And with one income, Melissa has always tried to chip in with baking cupcakes or blogging or knitting hats. She's always tried to do something. And so I've always appreciated her heart about that. And
even though it may not have been very successful.
You
Probably
tried.
spent more money than I ended up making.
We never kept balance sheets. But
taxes were those.
But I would say the biggest one is just communication.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, communicating.
Yeah. I would agree with that. And just to add just another point, I think whenever you're starting something new, to expect it to be a little crazy at the beginning, and expect there to be extra time dedicated to it. But, because there's a big learning curve where you guys had to learn, how many different, how much different software and, all these different programs and stuff for editing and for your website and for everything else. It's no easy task, but now, since you put in all that time initially, now you do a lot of those tasks, a lot faster. And so, I don't know. It was initially we knew it was going to be a dedication of time to begin with. And so I would just encourage anybody, if their spouse is starting something, to of course, communication is important, but you also have to understand it's going to be a little painful initially. There's going to be a lot of learning at the beginning. You don't actually know how long anything's going to take. And that's what makes it hard. Mm-hmm. But you have to expect that learning to come and get easier, and then get structure, and then say, this is the time that this is happening, and then this is the time that's happening. Now that you've, learned and you're awesome, now get even more awesome.
Yeah.
size.
The flexibility is key.
Yeah. So Brandon, speaking of new projects, are you thinking about anything? You thinking what I'm thinking? I mean, this seemed to go pretty well.
Yeah, I think podcasting, I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's a pretty exciting media. And I think you and I can really do something special. I've been brainstorming some names. I think Brohesive Home would be good.
What?
Do you have any ideas?
I don't know. It sounds too much like theirs. How about Brohesive Homies?
Dude, that's it.
You ready to drop
Coming in
this?
2017. Brohesive Homies.
Hey, I like your voice, and I think I could listen to it for 30 minutes, 45 minutes at a time.
They're just like triple the length of ours.
I know.
That's how bros do it.
Brohesive bros.
Oh.
Brohesive homies do it.
You know what? Thank you guys so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
This is so
What was
awesome.
that?
Happy
You
dudes.
guys are making.
Did you just mic drop?
That's what it sounded. It was like boom, mic drop.
Do it again. Do it
No.
again.
I know. I'm really glad you guys came.
Yeah, this is fun.
I hope everyone enjoyed it. I did.
Hope we see more of you guys
Oh, you won't.
in the future. Okay, well, as we wrap up this episode today, we want to encourage you to remember that dreams matter. Dreams don't die when you get married or have kids, they just grow and change. It's okay if you find yourself in a season where it's hard to dream because, babies need to be fed and there's work to do. But remember to communicate regularly and find ways to grow together as a couple.
If you enjoyed the message of this podcast, we want you to do two things. First, share it with someone, whether on social media or even in person. And second, please, I sound like I'm begging, but please leave us a review on iTunes. And don't forget to subscribe on iTunes or anywhere you listen to your podcasts. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to episode 24 of the Cohesive Home and Brohesive Homies podcast. We'll see you next time.